What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Other Side of the Firewall podcast, where we talk about the latest and greatest in cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shannon Tynes.
What's up? What's up?
What's going on? Welcome to episode 300. Yay, we made it. Like, pew, 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 fireworks. So we are there, official. Like, so we have more than 300 episodes, but those are not numbered episodes necessarily. It's the Ask Us SP, it's interviews and things of that nature. But of the actual podcast, The Other Side of the Firewall, we have 300 episodes as of this episode. So I think we've been going since October of 2020. So right there in the heart of the pandemic. Supposedly we're post-pandemic now, whatever that means. So 2 years, couple months is where we're at. 300 episodes. So unfortunately, we don't have Levon on today to celebrate that, but maybe we get back on for like 325 or 350 or something like that, or any number, it don't matter. Get the trio together. But yeah, definitely a milestone. So I appreciate all those who are listening. Like I know our audience isn't that large, but it's definitely consistent. Like the same people shoot us comments, like say like our episodes, things of that nature. So we have a devoted listenerage, if that's a word. Because can't say Patreon.
It is now. It is now. Yeah, exactly.
They don't pay for this. But or I guess with their time, right? You either pay with money or you pay with time. So they do pay with their time. But yeah, the show's evolved. It went from being a solid hour and a half, almost 2 hour podcast to we break it down in chunks now. So Monday, Tuesday are topics. They go for 15 minutes or less. Wednesday discussion. Sometimes that balloons past 15. And then the everything else episode, which is what the weekly rundown is. That's what this episode is. That can go for 30, 35, 45, however long it takes for us to get it all out. And it's also the most listened to. So there's definitely something to be said about that. People like us just they're pontificating about various things that we do on our non work time. So it's pretty cool. But with all that being said, how was your week?
Man, my last few weeks, actually, it's been a while since we've been on, but like I can't complain, man. Didn't get a lot of TV watching on. So to go back a little bit, since we've been on, right? So we actually took a little mini vacation. Went up to Aurora. We didn't go too far, but it was a little disappointing. Like the children enjoyed themselves, so that was good. But we ended up not even staying the last night. They actually refunded us some money because of the food experience we had, right? So yeah, but it was good for the children. They enjoyed it, right? That's kind of, once you have kids, that's the only reason you live your life at that
right
point. It's just kind of
take it all over.
Yeah, like, okay. Yeah, dad will make sure you have fun on all of this, right? Like don't worry about how much money we're spending, just enjoy yourself, right? That's kind of how that goes. But so yeah, that wasn't as enjoyable as I liked for it to be. This past year, I was actually up for New Year's, but not for the reason that you think. I just happened to be up because we were watching Jack Ryan on Amazon.
Oh, okay, I got you.
So like we were like every time the new season comes out, my wife and I watch that in like 2 days. Like we love that series.
Okay.
I mean, so it was a good one this year too. Like I think it was better than the second season. The third season was pretty good. So Jack Ryan, we watched that as the clock struck midnight and we heard some fireworks. So like, oh, I guess it's midnight,
Right.
But yeah, we were watching Jack Ryan. Also watched what's the name of it? Glass Onion. So did you ever see Knives Out?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I've seen both. So I actually saw Glass Onion. So what did you think?
Not as good
compared to the first.
Not as good as the first one.
Right.
As the first one.
I was like, what happened?
It was funnier. The thing is, though, they went the more comedic route, though. So like it was funnier. It had its spots where it was funny, but like when it came to like the whole detective stuff and everything, I was like, I think they did a better job in the first one.
Yeah, the first one. It wasn't bad, right? But like the first one would be an A. This one would be like a B.
Yeah. But no, I still enjoyed it. But yeah, watched that. What I say, Jack Ryan. What else did I watch? Not a lot of stuff. Like I'm not getting a lot of TV watching in like I used to. So new, like I'm paying more attention to the local news, like for weather, right? So like it's winter time.
Mhm.
Like I'm doing a lot of, all right,
Right.
are we gonna get snowed in today? Like what's gonna happen? You know what I mean? And then usually it's a swing and a miss. Like, yeah, you're gonna get 5 inches. Like, okay, inch and a half, maybe. But yeah, no, not really doing too much. Not doing a lot of reading. Haven't done that in a little bit. Uh, but yeah, man, nothing much. Life is good. I woke up again, right? So that's always
There you
good.
go.
Thankful for that, right?
Another trip around the sun.
Yep, exactly. Until Superman comes and turns the Earth backwards, right? Then we got an
Which, is,
extra trip.
which I didn't even like that as a kid. I was like, people he killed for the world to suddenly stop rotating one direction and then to start going in the other direction.
When I was watching that, I was not smart enough to realize that is the case, right? I just figured
We
we weren't dying.
flung us right off. Centrifugal force stopped.
I wasn't even thinking about it as a kid. You were advanced beyond your years, Ryan.
I was like, we'd be leaning and
Yeah.
screaming in terror. What are you doing, Superman? And why does that make time go backwards? Why does the rotation of the world make time flow backwards?
Yeah,
I don't like Superman. There's no secret.
I think
don't
that's
like
what
it.
it was. I think that's what it is. That's why so when it comes to Superman, you can't suspend disbelief, right? But like
No, even as a kid, I didn't like this dude. Like he's catching people. Like he's moving so fast. He's catching people as they fall out of buildings. Like why people fall out of buildings so much? First off, that's a concern in itself. But secondly, they would shatter in his hands.
oh, so hold on, you're a Batman fan though, right?
He would
You
have to
know
slow
Batman.
down and then catch
Didn't
them.
catch
But
him.
Batman doesn't have superpowers. Batman is
Okay,
the world's greatest detective.
I get that, but all them people he has hung, right? Like he goes and
Oh right,
he does
yeah,
a
oh
thing and
yeah,
he
he's
hangs.
killed people.
Like their necks would be broken. Like you don't want to suspend disbelief there, right?
Right.
Like, when he hangs these people off the building or he yanks them up.
Yeah, they're just dead though.
See? All right. But they usually show them squirming and whatnot, right? Like the Joker
No,
lived.
man, it's involuntary. It's definitely involuntary.
If you're gonna suspend disbelief, do it across the board, man. Don't come on, don't
I can't do
Superman
it.
like
I can't do it. Batman's superpower is that he's a billionaire. That's a superpower. That's realistic. You can do anything if you're a billionaire. Everybody knows who he is. They were like, that is definitely Bruce Wayne. But we're not going to say anything because he's paying our budgets.
he is supporting Gotham. Like he is
Right.
afloat.
Like he's keeping Gotham afloat because nobody wants to live here. Ain't no way they don't know who Batman is. I'm just saying. Yeah. I think Superman's a very flawed character. Yeah, I said it.
But you gotta but if you're gonna say that, I mean, look around the comic book universe, dude. Like there's a lot of them that's just you're gonna come across a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, they all have weird things like the Flash, right? For him to be able to move that fast and see and all that stuff that quickly, it has to be excruciating for him how slow we move. Like he should have no attention span whatsoever for people. Like he should be a recluse. Like everybody's moving in slow motion. It's just me.
But he can too. That's only when he's doing his do-gooder deeds, that he's moving that fast.
I think he's putting on. I think that's his mask. Like what do they say? Like Superman is Superman. He puts the glasses on. His alter ego is Clark Kent. Like for the Flash, he's making fun of us. He's like, oh, I'm moving like you. Because even his thoughts are faster. Like to be able to track movement like that and move as fast as the other side, like I don't know, like it's comic book. But if you were to take this and put it in real life, he is thinking, moving, breathing, all his actions are faster than ours. Right. So we have to be a pain for the Flash.
Wow. You put a lot of thought into this for something that should just be
this is what I do in the shower or in the commute. This is where my mind goes. Let me ruin some part of my childhood right now.
Yeah. No, I'm willing to suspend disbelief to make those things happen. That's just me. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's weird because it's the genre that I love. That's how I feel about it sometimes. I'm like, man, Superman. Because Superman, it wasn't always the way he was though. Like when he was initially created, he was just a Superman, right? So like he's fighting like 5 dudes at one time, and now it's to the point where he's making time go backwards because able to change the spin of the earth. Like he just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Well, you have to as technology advances, right? Because it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I've seen a regular man fight off 5 dudes,
Right.
in a Russian ring in the 60s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, these things have to change now. Like, okay, well, yeah, we say he's faster than a speeding bullet, but like we got to show
Right.
it. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I don't know. It's just you got it. As technology advances, it forces you to do other things that are entertaining to children, especially in this day and age, right? Like they're seeing so many things,
Yeah, that's true.
TV, movies, or whatever, that they're like, he fought 5 guys. Like, I saw a dude in
Yeah.
the mall. I saw a dude in the mall do that last weekend. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
It's on TikTok all the
yeah,
time. You
exactly,
got
exactly.
you got people fighting in phone booths now. You see that? Like
Yes,
that's the thing, fighting in phone booths, fighting in taxis, and then the
taxis out.
slap. Yeah, there's a taxi one now too. Like that's how bored people are. They're fighting in taxis. Um, I think the one I saw, and it could be entertainment as well, but he choked dude out with the seatbelt. That's how he ended the fight.
Come on now, seriously?
Yeah, I was like, oh, it's the first and last one I ever watched. So like this is like I'm getting dumber by watching this. But now the slap competition it's gone from underground, I guess, YouTube to like it's on
ESPN,
national television.
the
Yeah.
Ocho. It's on the
The
Ocho.
Ocho. So we are running out of things. I tell you that.
But that's what people want, right? Like it would not have the support it does if like somebody in the back room, one of the corporate guys are not making the calculations to say this is what this could do for us.
Oh yeah, yeah. They were looking at the rate of slap videos. They're like, oh, this is a market. This is untapped market. we need to show it ASAP. So it is what it is. Like we continue to devolve, I guess.
Yeah, the human race loves violence. Here's the thing, right? I don't think it's ever been the human race just all of a sudden liked violence. I think it's just become more acceptable to show it, right? Make it more acceptable to people is what it is, right? Like if you put an execution on TV, like it will get 1 billion views. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like
that. That's scary because it legitimately would.
Yeah. So this is where we are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I say that saying that God of War is one of my favorite games.
Which I think I'm near beating. I'm not sure. I've been putting in some reps. I've gotten to the point where I'm going to go, not to spoil anything, but I'm going to go fight a guy who has the ability to perceive things before they happen. So I'm about to go beef with that guy. So I'm excited.
You still got some time.
Do I?
You still got a little bit.
This game is long. It's good though. It's not long and boring. It's just
it's not.
They
bad.
give me all $70 worth.
Yeah. Now, if you're gonna mainline, so again, because I do the side story and everything, that's why I put in like 78, almost 80 hours or whatever it is I put in. But like from that point, I mean, you're more than halfway for sure.
Okay. Because I've just started the main line. Like I've gotten to the point where I'll see a chest and I'll give it one go. And if I don't figure it out, like, all right, I'm gonna come back. Because I do want to play it again because I never went back and played the original, or not the original, the 2018 God of War. I never went back. And I always felt like, man, I should go back because I just mainlined that when I was done. So this one I was like, I'm just gonna do everything now. And it's taking a lot longer than expected. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna switch gears, I'm gonna mainline it, I'll come back.
But after you've done it, you're not gonna like after you mainline it, you're probably not gonna want to come back to do all the extra
not
at that point, right? Like that's what I'm saying. Like just get it all out now. But
man, no. Sometimes I'll be sitting there for like 25 minutes trying to figure out a puzzle. I'm like, yo, is it that clever or am I getting dumber? Like
I'm willing to give it about 10 before I YouTube it. Like I'm just like, I'm not gonna put that type of time in. Maybe 15. I might do like 15.
Yeah.
I can see where this is going. I know I have to light this.
Right.
But like I can't make it happen. So sometimes just you got to be very specific on doing this here, this here, this here. And honestly, like you gotta up your weapons too, man. Like that's gonna help you, right? Like start upgrading weapons. So but yeah, it's man, I love it, right? That's it's to say all that, right? Talk about we're de-evolving and violence and all that, and I'm like, yo, I love a game with violence. Give it to me.
Right. It's different though, right? It's like you're using your mind to both get into the story. You might learn a little bit about mythology as well. Like I pick up some stuff like, oh, I didn't know that. Like then some stuff is bent right to make it gamey. So
Right.
I might actually look into it. Like, okay, well, what is the actual like uh
Mythology
the
behind it.
mythology behind the Valkyrie and things of that nature. Like that stuff interests me, right? And then on top of it, get a violent video game that looks really pretty. It's got the whole package, if you will. It's not you just watching a lady get a lady slapping a lady and then doing a front tumble somersault, which I shared in the chat. I was like, this is what they watch on TNT? People getting slapped to sleep.
And the thing was, like, they let her get up to do that. Like, I thought, like, once she went back, I was like, okay, it's over, right? But then
yeah, now they're like, nah, keep it rolling.
you
And then
got
she did the
time.
roll. I was like,
Yeah.
but then I found a follow-up video where she does a breakdown. Like it's her watching the video talking about it. And she was like, you know, like obviously this is embarrassing, but she was like, this the lady who hit her uh was like a black belt in judo or whatever. So she was like, she has like great hip control. Like she's breaking it down. She was like, you see her shift her hips. She has great hip control. The rotation was perfect. But she was like, what you did not see is she hit me in the whatever this artery is. She was like, this side of her face was swollen for 2 weeks. She
The
was like,
carotid. Yeah.
yeah, her carotid. She said that the slap did not like because the rule is you're supposed to get the cheek. She was like, no, she got a lot of back here, and that's what put me out. But she was like, it is what it is. I signed up for it.
Because the lady that put her down didn't look like she knew what she was doing, because she was looking at the refs like, I do this right here, like this is what I do.
Yeah,
how it seemed, right? But
yeah, I guess they can't really practice. maybe with a mannequin or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, can't be in the back spar slapping. Like I wouldn't sign up for that. So, getting slapped to sleep before the competition.
Yeah, for sure.
But,
get you some headgear, right?
Yeah, exactly. But it's interesting world we live in, right? We talk about it during the podcast. We got the AI taking over on top of like pretty much it's gonna be real easy for AI to wrap us up. Like, like it's gonna flip through and be like, okay, here's them when they're at their peak and they're building civilization, and now they watch slap videos. Easy, easy money. We got this. So
it really is. It's sad to say. Like you're kind of saying it half jokingly, but no, like we've given them all the tools, right? Like, hey, learn about us, right? Like that's pretty much what we're doing. Learn about us. Like, how do we not make the movies that show our downfall and not learn from the movies that show our downfall? I don't get this. Right? Like, we're just going right down that path.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? It's like, what's the worst case scenario? Here's the Orwellian future, right? Here's 1984, and then let's do that.
It's ridiculous, man.
Here's Animal Farm. Let's mimic this. You're like, yo, have you not read these? Or I mean, a lot of these things were banned anyway, right? Banned books. So maybe you have not read them. So that's also the case. So you have not learned from this prophecy. But I don't know, man. Speaking of which, talking about video games and TV, The Last of Us started. So episode 2 is tonight. Episode 1 was really good. I don't know if you peeked in yet.
Man, you convinced me to give it a shot. Like I saw so I never played the games. I saw the trailer and it didn't really interest me. Like it was like one of those, like the whole post-apocalyptic, and I realize they're not zombies and they're like mushrooms or whatever they are, right? But like it doesn't, it's not really my thing, right? But you were like, man, you got to give it a shot.
It's actually pretty good though.
There's two.
Like, it is pretty good. Like just from a story perspective, like but you can kind of already tell where it's going by my taste in movies and books. It's very dystopic. But they changed enough. Like what's so crazy about it, like the story itself is like phenomenal, like one of the best stories ever told in video games. And like to adapt it, I was like, nah, they're gonna try to appease me or they're gonna try to appease somebody new. And they do a really good job so far anyway, episode 1, of blending the two, right? They tell the story that I know, and then they make it different enough where I'm like, oh, that's different. Oh, that's unique. Oh, I like where they're going with this. Like they even changed the timeline, so to speak. So it happens earlier in the real world than it does in the games. So I'm like, okay, I get down with this.
So somebody at work said the same thing to me. Like, but he's played the games as well, right? Like he's big into the game. So he was like, oh man, it's good. You know what I mean? You got to try it. And I'm like, I was like, one of my friends, man. I was like, he's already got me on. He already put me on. So I was like, give it a shot. But I told him, or maybe it was you. I don't remember which one of y'all I told. I said, yeah, within the next 30 years or so, I'll watch it. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, yeah.
So I think from a it's more palatable as a movie, TV show, or a book. It's a very uncomfortable game. So if you ever were to get an itch to play it, it's not often that I will say I did not enjoy playing this, but it was good. Like it's weird to put it because how the story moves without giving anything away. Usually in the game, either you're playing as a character or you're playing as yourself, right? That's typically one or the other. Either you're Kratos playing through his storyline, or you're some made up dude who has funny mohawk, right? Like the two of those usually don't blend together. So when you're playing The Last of Us, you're playing Joe's story, but you don't necessarily like the decisions that he makes, but you understand why he's making them, and it gets uncomfortable. The second game gets even worse. Like when you're playing through the game, you're just like, I'm not enjoying this because these are not the decisions I would make, but I would, you know what I mean? So it makes you feel like you're a bad person because you're like, if I were here, this is what I would do also. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to think about that world and what I would do in it, right? I think that's what makes games so impactful if done right. They can make you think about you in a situation. You're just like, these are choices I don't want to make.
But if you start to question, your decision making and your morals, like I don't know, man. Like, does it steer you down a road of, man, maybe I'm just a terrible person, right?
I think I think it shows you. I think it shows you your more basier instincts and need to survive, because these are survival games, right? Everything has gone upside down. This is where the world is at now, and the people are more terrifying than the monsters sometimes. And then you go through it, and like you're embodying a character that is so different than yourself, and that's usually not done in games too much. Like you play like an Uncharted, and you're just a mass murderer, and that's cool. Like, because if you think about it, you're killing a lot of people in Uncharted, and you're just going about your business. You're making witty quips. You're stealing treasures. You're like, this dude is a serial killer, but you don't have to justify or codify any of that because it's a game mechanic, right? To get to the next level, you need to knock these people off. Same thing with like a Hitman game or something like that. But in this, you're just trying to make it. You're like, to progress the story and to survive, you have to make some really bad decisions and live within those. It's not just like a Lara Croft. Like Lara Croft kills people, right? You play the latest Batman game. What was it? The one with the Batmobile. Is it Arkham?
That's no, it's the guy. It's Knight, not Dark Knight.
I can't remember. But Batman is killing people. Like you're hitting people with the Batmobile at high speed, and they make it seem like he's not, and they get shocked and they bounce off. But you just hit that man at 20 miles an hour. But it's a mechanic, you don't care. It's just something funny. But in a game like The Last of Us, you are murdering people and then having to live within that decision.
I was looking over on my rack there.
I think it's Arkham Knight.
Arkham Knight. Yeah.
I was like, there it is. This came to me. I had to think of the logo in my head. I was like, it's Arkham something, because it's the Arkham trilogy, right? Arkham Knight. Yep. But they make you they make you live within those decisions. Like they're just like, yeah, you kill that person. Like it's not like a mechanic that goes away. It's like, no, I have to do this in order to keep progressing. And everybody's morals are gray because they're just trying to survive.
Well, circumstances are different, right? Like you can be civilized in a civilized society where everything is in order somewhat, right? I mean, yeah. But no, I kind of get that. Now, I'm not saying I wouldn't make some of the same decisions. It's one of those things, right? What do you do to protect your family, protect yourself type thing?
Right.
Like those decisions may not be as hard as you think they are. Like right now, you'd be like, oh no, I couldn't cut somebody's head off. But it's like, okay, I could cut their head off. They're coming at me, to get my food or to attack my children or do whatever. It's like, hey, right, what gotta do, right?
Yeah. So it's just different. Like, so it's a very uncomfortable game to play. Like when I beat the second one, I was relieved. I'm never playing that again. I actually said that.
Are you serious?
I'm never playing that game again.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, that's $70 I can't replay because I don't want to relive some of those moments. You're just like, oh, that's terrible. But
But you're watching the
that's the way the
TV
world
series.
would devolve. Hmm?
But you're watching the TV series.
It's
Like,
different. It's because you're not in control of the character. You're just watching their story. It's weird. It's like this is something that the video games can do that no other medium can do. Like I would hate to play a game in VR because now you are surrounded in the murder. But yeah, it's just different. So I think I'm going to enjoy the show more than I enjoyed the games. And the games are phenomenal. Don't get me wrong. Again, like really, the mechanics are sound. The story is great. The set pieces are amazing. But they're just everybody is horrible. Everybody, to include yourself. So there's that to look forward to in the TV series. And the characters are just really well fleshed out. Like so, I'm hoping that they give them even more time to breathe. Because you play a game, you're playing it for like 20 hours, right? You're getting all these characters, you're getting all these, like a lot of The Last of Us story elements are in audio logs and articles and pieces of paper you find. They have like newspapers and magazines that are scattered around. You get information, but in this, the way they're going to tell this story, they have to give it to you, right? You have to actually see it and hear it. There's no companion to the material. So I think that will help flesh out the world even more. Because there was a couple of times in the TV episode, I was like, I didn't know that. Or maybe that was just made just to fill in the gap of something that I would have to pick up myself, and I just never found in the game. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. I never knew that was a thing in this universe. So, but
I do plan on watching it. I do, just to see. But because I haven't played the games, I don't know how much I would really enjoy it. Like I hope it's enough to where I can enjoy it without having had played the games.
yeah, I think it'll be 100% uh, uh, enjoyable without actually playing it. I think the playing it piece just because it's a 10-year-old game, right? So I'm forgetting stuff all the time. But I think it doesn't necessarily give you a more appreciation. It gives you a different perspective because you kind of already have some assumptions in your head, and then when it plays out in the show, you're like, oh, that was different. But I like it. But they haven't done anything where I'm like, that's terrible. Like usually that's the internet, right? Like there's some casting uh done. Like I say that there's some colorblind casting that was done that the internet's already in uproar about. But that's what the internet does. They're like, oh, she can't be that because she's not like, man, it's a video game. These people don't really exist. So, you know what I mean? Like mermaid, like another argument, hopefully it doesn't piss too many people off, but a mermaid could be black because mermaids don't exist. They could be a multitude of different colors because they're not real things. Just like these characters, even though you've had them for 10 years, it happens all the time. Like a book, a comic book, or I should say a novel versus a comic book versus a TV show. They change people out all the time. They change genders or even background stories, or they reboot a character. So there are a couple characters in TV show that did really good, but they weren't the same um, race as the ones in the game, and it made no difference. So
Yeah, that's the world we live in, man. It's a little tiresome. It's like, come on.
But it is what it is. But again, I think it's going to be phenomenal. I've only seen one episode, and I'm already thoroughly impressed. And I'm going to watch the second one tonight because I can't binge them. Come on, HBO. Where's the Netflix model at? Give me all of them.
That's becoming the model now, though, man. To where you don't like Netflix. I want to say there was even one that they did that with, where it wasn't.
Yeah. And I didn't watch it till it was done.
Yeah,
you give me what I want, how I want it, Netflix. I want to be able to binge everything, and I still don't. Right? It took me a week to get through Wednesday, even though I could have knocked it out in 2 days, right, or a weekend or something like that. So I still don't watch all of it at one time, but I want the option to pop in when I feel like it. Right? I'm like, I feel like watching this, which was not a bad show. It's kind of kiddish, so it didn't always appeal to me, but I did like it. It was a good show. It was interesting. What else did I watch? So I watched The Last of Us. I watched all of Wednesday. I watched Glass Onion, which I thought was good, but not as good as the first one. There was something else. my so I watched a part of Hamilton again because my wife got my daughter Hamilton tickets for her birthday, so they went and saw Hamilton. So I was like, okay, we get into it. It's still phenomenal. I was like, okay, and then they went out and they watched it, live, and they're like, it was just as good, if not better, than the Disney recording. I was like, okay, that's what's up. There was something else. I can't remember what it was, but it'll come back to me later. It was like a horror movie or something like that I watched, and I was like, okay, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So, but it doesn't stick out of my mind.
So like, if you think it's gonna be bad going in, like, why do you even watch it? Like, I don't know.
Because they're usually funny. Like typically, like you'll watch it, like that's actually pretty humorous. Because in order for the horror movies to work, like Smile. So I watched Smile before while I was still in Turkey. People have to make really bad decisions in order for it to progress. Because if they make good decisions, they're like, oh, house is haunted, I'm not going back to house. There'd be no movie. Like credits would roll. So they were like, no, I have to figure out what this is, or I got to do some research, or I gotta stop it from happening. Like, nah. I walk in, I hear some spooky noises, closed door, go to Airbnb or couch surf. One of the two. Like, I'm not going back to haunted house, especially like, okay, if it's just creaks and groans, like, oh, the house is settling. But in these movies, like you're legitimately having full blown hallucinations and getting picked up and thrown around the house. Like, nah, I'm out. Because how could you ever sleep? How could you ever feel safe?
Yeah, but like you said, though, right? That'd be a 5-minute movie.
right, exactly. So that's why usually why I watch it, because that's humorous to me. I'm like, oh, that's why. Speaking of ghost stories and stuff like that, Velma, that made the whole internet mad. It's getting review bombed. People hate it. It's the HBO Max origin TV show for Velma from Scooby Doo. Also not a real person, but they've completely changed the cast. I think Velma is Indian, Daphne is Asian, uh, Shaggy, or they call him Norbit, they call him by his government name for now anyway. He's black, but Fred's still white, but he's affluent. Like he comes from a lot of money, but he's completely incompetent and just he's not rich and powerful. He's very weak in the TV show. So he's not coming from a position of power. But yeah, so they completely redid all that stuff, and it's a cartoon. It's zany. They're not even really there's an overarching mystery for this one, but it's like it's not the best of stories, but people don't hate it because the story is bad. They hate it because they've recast all the characters. It's crazy to me. But that's on like episode 4, so I'm still watching because I want to see it to its conclusion, because I don't think it's going to get a second season, unless either it gets better or people calm down. One of the two.
Now, when you say it gets better, like you're not feeling it either. Like you're just like,
I'm not feeling it because of the recasting. I'm not feeling it because the story it's not good. Like she's half trying to solve a murder mystery, but mysteries give her panic attacks. So yeah, it's crazy. So I'm just like, man. Well, it's funny though. It has like very funny moments because it's self-aware that people are not going to like it because of the recasting. So they do a lot of jokes about that, which is funny to me, because I think people are just going to watch it just for that piece of it to be more mad about it. Because like, oh, this show's too woke. Like, but they're doing that to pull you back in so as you continue to watch the show. But it is what it is. But yeah, so those are the only things I've really been hitting up. But there is a movie coming out. What's coming out before the Marvel onslaught? Like before all the Marvel joints. Oh, Avatar. So Avatar came out. I kind of want to watch it, but I'm waiting for it to come to streaming. It's people really like it.
Man.
But I don't want to go to theater and see it.
So you're not that interested then. Like if you don't want to spend the money, you're kind of like,
no. So it's not that I want to spend the money. I limit my amount of theater, like not because of COVID or anything like that. It's just like I don't want to go there and spend $40. Like, so I guess it is money. I'd rather wait for it to come on one of the streaming services I currently have and I watch it, because it's gonna look just as good to me.
Them tickets are cheaper in Turkey than what they are back in the States.
Exactly. It was like $8 for a new release and they would still get you on popcorn. So you got to make their money. But it wasn't like if I go to the theater with the fam, that's $100.
Yep.
I don't think that's $100 worth of movie, in my opinion. But the reviews say it is. They say it's you got to see it in theaters. It's amazing. It's the reason theaters were made.
Well, you're big into the audio visual, right? You're
Right.
a big AV guy, so like you want to see it in IMAX and do all that. Like I don't do any of that. The first one, it wasn't that great to me, and from what I'm seeing, it's kind of like the first one, right? Like it's the first one underwater is what I'm reading, right? So
And that's the part that kills me about it. Like nothing filmed underwater is good. No game with a water level is good. The water level is always trash.
What?
Just,
Sonic just dying and falling to the bottom.
that was probably the best of the water levels. And then you get the bubble, you're like, whoop, whoop. Whoop, whoop. I don't know. It just sucks. The water temple in Ocarina of Time sucked. No one cares about Under the Sea. The only thing about undersea movies that's good are the horror ones. Like when there's a monster under the water, those are usually pretty good.
You're down for Jaws and all that, right?
Yeah.
Jaws, I'm with that. Okay.
Yeah. But living underwater, water world.
You know, I didn't believe it was as bad as people said it was. Like I didn't see Waterworld until like maybe 4 years ago, something like that.
Yeah.
I was like, it can't be as bad as people are making.
It's not good. It's not good.
It was as bad as people were making it seem. It was kind of unbelievable to me. I was like,
it's like somebody was like, let's make Mad Max, but underwater.
Water?
Like what? Why?
It didn't hurt Costner's career any, right?
It
Like
didn't.
he out there making money, man. He's doing what is it, Yellowstone? I'm pretty sure he's getting paid for that. They're like 5 seasons in.
I kind of want to watch that because I have much hype, but it's not for me. Like I can watch a Western movie because it's like maybe 2 hours. Like they're robbing banks, stagecoaches, stuff like that. But a Western TV show, it's too long.
So you're saying the same thing I'm saying, right? Like I qualify it as a Western, but like it's not really a Western, so to speak. Like they run a ranch, right? But they're not doing a shoot 'em up with people, you know what I mean, at high noon or anything like that. Yeah, you know, they're not robbing a bank and rolling out or whatever. But like, yeah, like I think of it as a Western though, but they're on a ranch and
they on horses and they got hats.
Yeah, I know.
I think there's enough Western for me. I don't know. Like I might, because I don't want to be ignorant to it. I might give it a couple episodes or whatever. But there's so many TV shows. Like every time I cut on an app, I'm like, oh yeah, that one. Because I just started watching Mike on Hulu. I'm up to episode 5, I want to say. Excellent.
What's the name of it? You said Mike?
The Mike Tyson one. What's it called?
Oh, okay, yeah. The what? Yeah, I told you about that, man.
I'm like, oh, episode 5, like phenomenal. Like just the actor's embodiment of Mike Tyson is just eerie how well he's doing.
Yes.
And it feels like because I don't have all of the knowledge of all the media from Mike, right? I know bits and pieces. I watched his hour, like his one man situation. But this adds on other stuff, like you said, it's public knowledge, but I just didn't know about it. So I'm watching, I'm just like, oh man, that's crazy.
Well, it's from multiple sources. It's from multiple sources. So it is from his autobiography, and then they also take from so like Desiree Washington apparently wrote a book too, right? So they take from hers. Like there's other sources. So it may not be like if you come across Mike Tyson, you may not want to tell him you saw that you like
right. I already not happy about it, but I think it's pretty good though. But he's a public figure, so I mean, you're a public figure. People can make a story about you. Like just look at Lifetime. Like Lifetime will make 3 stories about a situation. You'll get his side, her side, and then in between. You're like, we gonna market all 3 of these. Because it was the Buttafuoco, Joey Buttafuoco or whatever. Like that story came from her perspective, came from his perspective, and then in between perspective. Like if you're a public figure.
I did not realize that. So Amy Fisher, that's her name. Amy Fisher was the girl, right? Amy Fisher and Joey Buttafuoco. So they got multiple.
It's multiple. It was. I remember when I was a kid when it came out. There was 3 different versions of it on the same channel. Like they showed it from his perspective, her perspective, and then they was like, "This is in between." They made so much money.
The only thing I really remember about that was In Living Color did a skit on that, and so it was Amy Fisher was in jail and Joey Buttafuoco was visiting her in jail, like in the jail cell. It's funny, right? So she was the Long Island Lolita. That's what they called her. And like she was so Jim Carrey, who's hilarious to me. But he was in the cell and he was always going, Joey Buttafuoco over here. Joey Buttafuoco over here. And then like his wife showed up or something like that. And it was like, yo, it was crazy. But yeah, I never saw any of the Hallmark movies or Lifetime movies.
Yeah.
Any of that type of
Yeah,
stuff.
there was a bunch of them because I remember because my mother was watching it, so I was watching it. Oh, I watched a documentary. See, I'm improving myself. But it was on Miss Cleo, so it's on HBO Max. Call Me Miss Cleo.
Is that any good?
It was so eye opening.
Okay.
I was like, I didn't know any of this. Like, because I only remember the skits, and they show some of that too. They show like people doing like the In Living Color and all that. Or like
Chappelle
show, Raven, her show did one. But then they also go into the details behind the company that she was working for and how bad the deal was and how she may have not known some certain things that were going on and just her background, because she's a mysterious person. I never knew. I just thought she was just an actress. But no, it's not the case. Like, there's some, I don't want to give it away, some stuff. You're just like, what is going on?
I keep seeing it and I want to add it to my list, but I don't. I'm like, oh man.
So it's worth a watch. It's worth a watch. I'm gonna give it a shot. Just out of like all of the background stuff. You're just like, and then was not tracking that. Okay. Because they have people from the hotline, they have people, celebrities that were doing impersonations of her and stuff like that. Then they have people who knew her before she was Miss Cleo, people who knew her after she was Miss Cleo. And it kind of gives you like a holistic, like, this is who the person was, and kind of like why they were involved in the way they were involved. Is just, perspective.
Okay, I'm gonna give it a shot. I'll probably watch that today. Actually, when's the Bills game? Is that the first one or the second one today?
We play at 3.
3. Okay, yeah, that's the first one though, right? Because the other one's a night game.
Yeah,
so I got time. I get time. I thought they were playing at like regular time, like 11 o'clock my time anyway. But
nope.
Yeah, okay, all right. So
nope, 3 o'clock. So was that 1 your time or something like that?
Yeah, yep. All right, I'll give that a shot then. I want to see y'all beat down the Bengals. I need that.
Man, me too. Because people are already saying the fix is in. It's killing me. Like before, so they're saying like the Bills should have forfeited the game that DeMar Hamlin was injured in, which is, I don't believe it would be the right decision to do, because they're saying like Cincinnati's saying like basically like we would have won that game, or some Cincinnati fans, not all, are saying that we would have won that game. We had the Bills on the ropes. I think the game was only 5 minutes long. First off, but secondly,
and the score was 3-7. It wasn't like they were running away.
They're like, well, we're winning, we're running away with it, so they should have forfeited the game. It's not like the only conspiracy, and I don't give it any credence, but it would make me mad as well, is that they've already decided where the neutral game will be, and they're already selling tickets. Which I looked at ticket prices because I was interested in going to Atlanta to watch the game. No, thank you. It's sold out anyway, but ticket prices are outrageous. Because they're trying to say the NFL is no longer sport, it's more entertainment, and that they put influence into games in order to get outcomes, to generate stories. And they're running away with it. They're like, oh, they put us in Bills territory with a ref that's pro Bills. They're saying that the head ref has only called good games for the Bills, and they're saying the NFL wants the storyline. And that's why they're already putting bias into it by already selling the tickets and making the game real. They're already trying to get in people's minds that the Bills will win the game. And that will influence the players and the refs and the coaches, getting their mind psychologically in order to make this thing come to fruition.
It's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot. Like,
it's a lot.
So like, here's what's weird about that, right? So the NFL has always been entertainment, first off, right? Like, yes, it is a sport, but it's always been entertainment. So it's always been, that's why they put the teams mostly in major markets, right? Like, to please as many people as possible. There are people in rural places that you could put a football team that would sell out all the time, right? Like, Alabama doesn't have a professional football team, but you watch the Tide play, they fill up a stadium of 100,000 plus people, right, on Saturday. So that's not a thing. But But the other stuff, like, here's my thing. When it comes to a conspiracy of that nature, like you will always have somebody that speaks out. It's too big for it not to get out, right?
Right.
Like if that was true, it would get out. People cannot keep a secret nowadays. You know what I mean? It just can't. We can't do it. We want to write a book,
Right. Right.
or do a movie or a documentary or something about what we had to go through with that. Just, I don't know. I think that's a little ridiculous. Because you can skew anything that way. Like the whole thing with the ref, like they say, oh, it's the only good game he's ever called is for the Bills, or he only calls good games for the Bills.
Yeah, he only calls. Like they have his record, a record of how many games he's called for the Bills and how we've never lost under like the past 2 or 3 seasons. We never lost a game that he's called. Like they're going deep, deep.
That's not even a large sample size. 2 years. Like,
but I will say, and I'm going to say this on Twitter later for the 5 people who follow me on Twitter. I don't care. Like I don't care if there's any bias or influence. Pro Bills. I've watched the Bills go to the Super Bowl 4 times in a row. It has informed my childhood. I am who I am because the Bills went to the Super Bowl 4 times in a row and lost. Statistically, they should have won one of those. They are an anomaly in that regard. And if there's some magical bias by advertising the game ahead of time, good. A W is a W for a Bills fan like myself. I don't psychological warfare is fine by me. I hope it cripples them mentally and they cannot perform well in this game and the Bills beat them by double digits. I don't care if we win by a point or we win by 20 points. I just want to go to FC Championship and I want to win there. Bias that too. I want to go to Super Bowl. I want to win that. Bias that too. I want a Super Bowl before I die. So I don't care. How about that?
I love it. I love
That's
it.
how I feel.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So it is what it is, people.
Look, here's the thing. I just want y'all to smash the Bengals. I have no allegiance to y'all after that.
Gotcha.
Like after that, I'm like,
it's fine.
I'm like,
it's fine.
Whatever.
We'll take that. We'll take that spirit energy. It's like Goku getting Spirit Bomb ready. We'll take it. We will take it.
I want y'all to Kamehameha all over them. That's what I want.
It is what it is, people. So if we come on the W, you can say, "Oh, you're what's called like I don't even know what like I'm definitely a fan," but you can say I'm like just the corrupt because I want the Bills to win at any cost. Like I don't want them to come on the field and outwardly cheat, but if the calls go our way, I'm not going to be like, "Oh, we shouldn't take that call." No,
it is what it is. Right?
It is what it is. That's what the refs saw.
Let the NFL deal with that.
Exactly.
But we're going to the next round. I just want you to know.
Right. Right. Exactly. So it is what it is, people. Go Bills. That's all I gotta say. But I think that pretty much wraps up for this episode. It's always a pleasure. Episode 300. So definitely continue to tune in so we can have 300 more. I think this year will definitely bring a lot of opportunity to us. I can see us growing or getting more people on or something like that for 2023. I just have to, speak it into existence and press forward in that direction. I talked to somebody the other day and they're interested in perhaps doing a little bit of advertising for us because he was very pro veterans and then like obviously the D, E, and I as well. So that may be something that gets us to a few more people's listening ear holes and go from there. So definitely continue to tune in. Watch our episodes. Monday, Tuesday are our topics. Wednesday is our discussion. And then Fridays we do this. So if you like hearing us talk about Bill's conspiracies, then hey, tune in. We got you, especially next week. But thank you, Shannon. Thank you, Levon. Thank you for all of our guest hosts in the past. So your Gabe Davises, your Aisha Hollins, even the Ask Us P, your Mike Wares, your Johnny Jones Juniors, and then everybody had on Ask Us P. So Tish and oh man, it's too many people. I will put you guys in the comments. Like all of you have made the show better. Continue to hit us up, and we'll definitely listen to your comments. Do what we can with your feedback, and keep doing what we're doing. So stay safe, stay secure.